fastest way to improve your physique is to fix your biggest bottleneck, because it's all about symmetry, harmony, balance. You want your body to be as well proportioned as possible based on your ideal dream physique. And to be honest with you, for many years, I've been slacking on arms. So now they are one of my worst features, I do believe. I think my chest and my back is definitely a strong point for me, because for years and years and years, not years and years and years, but for like a good 3 years or so, I prioritized just compound movements, because I was lied to. I was told by these red-faced, obese powerlifters that all you need is just to get stronger on the bench press and the chin up, and then you'll get big arms. Lies. Absolute hogwash. Especially for a lanky 6'2" guy like myself, I need a hell of a lot of precision and focus to grow these little twigs. Now, I'm sitting at around 16.5 inches here and just about 16 inches here. There's a good difference between these arms. Even though I do believe this one looks bigger, this one is like half an inch bigger. So my goal is to get to 18 inches, because I do believe that is just a pinnacle natty accomplishment. I think you look insane with 18-inch arms, and that's definitely what will help my physique level up the most. Create that imposing appearance where you don't even have to question how serious I am at lifting. Like, I've reached the stage now where nobody doubts that I lift, right? But maybe they're questioning, like, how committed am I? How intense? How much do I care? I think those 18-inch arms is what's going to get me there to where nobody questions it. So come with me to the gym where we're going to smash an arm day, and I can explain to you exactly what I'm doing to get to these 18-inch guns. So boom, we're opening with some preacher curls, and I got a bit humbled recently and I had to drop the weight just a little bit. I was doing 20 kilos on each side for a total of 50 kilos, but I realized due to an Instagram comment that put me in my place that I was ego lifting just a little bit, because my back of the arm wasn't fully locked onto the pad, and it was just a little bit herky-jerky. Not to say that isn't effective, but after lowering the weight, dropping the ego, I can admit that this just feels way more potent. And man, am I pushing hard as fuck on this exercise, because it really, really is something that you can grind and grind and grind beyond what you thought was possible. And so last rep, you can see how slow it was. You can see the contorted look in my face. And again, I still try for another because I might as well, but it's just not happening. And I superset that with a dumbbell pullover. But Matt, isn't it supposed to be arm day? Yes, it is. And the dumbbell pullover is a phenomenal long head of the triceps movement. I honestly, every single time I add these back into the rotation, my triceps are absolutely cooked the next day, such that I lose a significant amount of strength in my pressing. These are a great exercise for lats as well. It's even an okay exercise for the chest because you get some kind of stretch. But honestly, I do think that it is primarily just lats working in harmony with the triceps, as well as getting some juicy rib cage expansion, which just makes you look like a cobra even when you're not flexing. I've also ego lifted on these in the past, and I always have to reset my technique. But then we come in with some behind the neck press. And again, you might be wondering, Matt, isn't it arm day? Yes, it's called arm and shoulder day, aka bro day, aka the best day of the week. I'm kidding. There's no best day of the week. They all are enjoyable as fuck in their own different ways, but the behind the neck press is just a phenomenally good exercise for working your shoulders, primarily your front delt, obviously, but it's the pressing variation that's going to target your side delts the most significantly because of the completely vertical pattern and the fact that your elbows are flared out. It's just very good mechanically. And no, it's not a dangerous exercise. Done sensibly, loaded slowly, it's actually going to have the opposite effect where it makes your shoulders feel way more mobile and rejuvenated, which is necessary the bigger and stiffer you get. Not that I'm there yet, but I'm going to get there one day, and it's just going to be such a blessing to have worked on mobility in the meantime. But anyway, the next exercise on the list is another superset, which I begin with some overhead tricep extensions. I'm not going to lie, these don't make my triceps look very impressive while I'm doing them as opposed to push downs, but man, do they absolutely get the job done. Next exercise in the superset, we're coming in with some incline curls, which I've started to do with a hammer grip. Number one, because it's a lot less funky on my elbows with doing preacher curls and incline curls in one session. Your elbows are going to be a limiting factor very quickly. And so this literally alleviates all kind of pain. Temporarily anyway. We'll see what happens a few months down the line. But as well as that, this is going to be working a lot of the brachialis, which is the muscle responsible for making your arms just look wider. And that's something that's really been a weakness for me lately. So I train it hard as fuck. I finish, grind out the last few reps, and I can't get any more clean reps. So I do a little bit of herky-jerky momentum to get them up and then slowly control on the way down. And that's it. They're torched. So after that, we move on to some cable lateral raises. The nerdiest, most scientific exercise you can imagine. That's not true, no. You can use these cuffs to do some tricep push downs while nailing your shoulder to the I don't know what these science guys are doing now, but it's getting out of hand. However, they're onto something with this exercise in particular. I'm really unsure how much more effective this is than just taking some dumbbells and smoking your shoulders, just reps upon reps upon reps. I just like this better because it feels nicer. And because I'm doing it one arm at a time, I can finish off not being able to do any more clean reps, even these little partials at the bottom where I can barely even move an inch because the shoulders are obviously so cooked that I start doing this. I start assisting with my other arm, getting them up and then slowly controlling them on the way down, going past failure. This wouldn't be possible to do with dumbbells unless obviously you're lying on a bench. Doing them one arm at a time. It would still be a bit awkward. Like the cable just makes this so much smoother because you can sort of just pull on the cable with your other arm. And now the main event of the evening. I need to grow my forearms, and it's no longer optional because my upper arm is really starting to dwarf them, and it's looking a little bit ridiculous. Especially as a tall guy, my forearms have always been just noodles. I have tiny wrists, and there's a lot of space in between the bone and tendon. I have very, short insertions on the forearms, meaning that there's not a lot of space for the meat to grow, which just means I have to work that much harder to make them stand out and pop. So that's why I'm doing these pronation twists, which is an exercise I always used to sort of sneer at. I don't know why. It was a bit stupid. I'd never even tried it. But ever since incorporating these, I'm getting just a next level of burn in the muscle of the forearm that is the weakest on my frame, which is the brachioradialis. And the pronator. Obviously, this is called a pronation twist, meaning that the primary muscle that's moving is the pronator. That's what's responsible for this wrist twisting action. But yeah, we're finishing off the forearms with some finger curls, which I do on the pull-up bar. I'm not going to lie, this was a first time trying this exercise, and it's going to be a last. I'm not going to do this again. I don't see the point. Finger curls are so much better done with dumbbells and barbells. It just feels way smoother and way more natural that way. However, what I will be doing on this slot, instead of this exercise for the time being, is I'm going to start doing dead hangs. Waited for a long time. Dead hangs, dead hangs, dead hangs.